Welcome to the Wally Show precast, where we get to deal with some of the things that we did not get a chance to get to in the show. Like Becca is leaving us, and we're going to miss her like mad.
For the weekend.
Oh.
I'm not missing any shows or
sounded way too
I know, like
happy about
that. Was way too chipper.
There's a party going on outside there. There's tables set up and stuff. I thought you were leaving.
No, other Becca is leaving.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Okay, because like Marty was coming up today, and I'm like, wow, Becca's leaving. I didn't really hear much about it.
Very cavalier about the thought of me leaving.
That's weird. All right, so you're just going to be gone for the weekend?
Yeah, just for the weekend.
Oh, well, that sounds fun. Where are you going?
I'm going to Indianapolis. My very close friend from college lives there, and she's getting married later this year, so we're gonna do some wedding-y things and just hang out.
Are you excited about that, or like you get to this point too where you're already married?
Oh yeah,
is the joy gone in like doing marriage stuff for people?
No. And this is so I'm actually matron of honor, and so this is the first time that I've held this title in a wedding. And so,
I love how women look at this. Honestly, this is the best to me.
What?
This is the first time I've held this title.
No,
it's an honor not to just be nominated.
It is an honor. No, seriously, because
guys look at it different.
No,
guys
they don't.
They do.
No, they don't. They want to say that they do, but they don't.
No, Joey is the best man in a wedding this summer, and he's excited about it.
The only reason, guys, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound like I'm a pig, but the only reason that guys are excited, they're like, bro, going to throw you the best bachelor party ever. Like, that's what guys like get excited about for some reason. But like all the other stuff that comes along with it, horrible.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about this. There's already some hiccups. Like I got my dress for the wedding, and it has a lot of issues. Marty's going to help me with it.
I heard she was going to sew something in it for you.
Yeah,
you guys figure that out?
Yeah. It's a convertible dress, which is great, but it is made for maybe one body type. Let's just say that. So we're going to work on that together. But no, I'm actually really excited to do the wedding planning stuff. I think it'll be fun because this will be the first time I've been involved in a wedding where it's not my own, or the first time since I got married. Yeah. And I think it'll be nice to not have the stress that comes with the wedding planning, but still get to be involved in it.
Are you going to be that person that's like, oh, at my wedding we had lobster?
No, I've actually already tried to just stay far away from that. Unless she asks, unless she's like, hey, at your wedding, was this an issue? How'd you deal with it? And then I'll tell her. But
I mean, the best advice I can give anybody about weddings is don't care. Like, and honestly, and I mean that and not about your spouse, not about that, but about the day.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
People get so worked up about things that aren't an issue, won't be an issue 20 years from now, and it ruins their day. Yeah. And then what they remember is the stress, the fights, the anger, all of that stuff. Like when we got married, we were like, look, this is about us getting married today and having a great day, and that's it. And the world could blow up today, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and we had that same thought. And a lot of stuff did go wrong on our wedding day. Like the flowers showed up that morning. Like I'm getting my dress on, the flowers show up, and they're the completely wrong flowers. And I just kind of look at them, and I think everybody was looking at me like, what's going to happen?
She's going to snap. She's going to blow.
I'm like, oh, all right, those still look nice. You know, like you just gotta let things roll off your back, and then those become the fun stories later anyway. And all we cared about was that we were finally getting to get married and spend our lives together. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People get so worked up about it. But now the problem is like going into a wedding for me with my daughter. My daughter dropped the bombshell the other day. She's like, I just want to get married. I'm like, no, you got to go to college. I want you to go to college, get that done first. And I see her getting married young.
Something tells me she will, because at her age, I could care less.
Really?
Oh yeah, that was the furthest thing from my mind.
Did you watch Hallmark movies all the time though?
No.
Yeah, that's what she does. Like she is basically Taylor Swift. Like that wide-eyed. I want someone to throw rocks at my window and come sweep me off my feet and stuff. And I honestly, I do take it as a compliment though, that like she has a very healthy view of marriage based on, I think, Marty and my marriage.
No, it's a good thing.
What do you mean?
Yeah, that's sarcastic.
Yeah, no, I think she does. I mean, because if we were fighting all the time, or if it was nasty, that messes with kids. Like, I see so many kids that come from homes that are messed up, and like, I don't want to get married.
Yeah,
my mom and dad fight.
Nothing to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. And so for me, I was like, because she's actually said, she's like, I really want to find. She made me almost cry one day. She's like, I really want to find someone like you.
Ooh.
That I know.
Oh gosh, that would make me cry too.
Yeah.
And she was like, they can, that's funny and they can fix stuff. And
Bless
like,
her heart.
I know.
She's so damaged.
What are you talking about? You're going to marry someone just like me, Rock.
No, I'm not.
You are.
No, and if I do, I hope Becca slaps me in the face.
I will, gladly.
Please.
So I was going to ask Becca to do Monday school because I'm traveling on Monday, but apparently you are not going to be at church either.
Right, because I'm going to be in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that the friend that I'm visiting, she actually goes to a black church. Like when I visited
Can you
her-
say black church?
I hope so. That's the way that everyone describes it, I feel.
Yeah, I hate the fact that you have to worry about trying. You go so hard to not come off as a racist, because I know you're anything but a racist.
Right.
I think you're supposed to say African American 6-hour church.
I think if you overanalyze it, then you're a racist.
Maybe that's me right now.
Probably,
then.
yes.
But no, I think black church comes off a little weird to
but
people.
I do think it is a type of church. I mean, it's a service that, like you said, it lasts however long it lasts.
Oh, boy, it does.
The last time I was there, it was 2 hours, and we hadn't even gotten to the sermon yet. And people were waving flags and dancing
Holy
around.
cow.
We got pulled into a conga line a couple different times.
That's
Different
the
people
best.
just get on stage and speak as the Spirit moves, and that's totally fine. And
You know what's weird though? Like I've been like in Africa with actual Africans, not African Americans, but Africans, and I've been to one church service. It was like that, but then a bunch of the other like devotional times that I've been to are amazing. Like it's so much fun because there's such a joy. The music is amazing, and it's very percussive, and there is dancing, and it's the craziest thing because there it feels right and it fits, and you're like, I'm just caught up in this. And then you come back home, and there's no reason we shouldn't be that same way at home, but I'm so reserved at church and worship.
I'm terrible. I have that American church mindset where I'm like, 3 songs. Man, we're doing a 4th song.
Yes. Oh,
really?
How am I going to beat the Methodist to the Sizzler?
We're 5 minutes over the service, and I don't mean to have those thoughts. It's not something that I'm keeping track of my watch, but sometimes.
But we are.
Yeah, it's terrible, and so I'm kind of dreading going to this church this weekend just because. It does feel like it drags on, but I will admit, last time I was there, it was kind of fun to dance with everybody.
Right, it is fun, but yeah, you feel like a bad person having any kind of reservation about it. You're like, I'm a horrible Christian right now.
There is a part of me that hopes that she's found a new church since I visited her last.
Or become an atheist. Either one. I'll take either one. As long as I don't have to spend 7 hours at that church that day. Well, good luck with that. We played some audio one time on the show of this guy. He's a comedian, Gary Owens or.
Yeah, and I think that the backstory was that he had been dating a girl who was white.
Yes.
And so he was talking about the differences between a black church and white church.
Because he was going to a black church before, and he was like, he missed that,
right.
Since he broke up with that girl and was dating another girl. Here's a little bit of that. We'll play some of that because it's pretty funny.
I miss going to white church. I miss it. I had my whole day free back then, Black church takes forever. Why does it take so long? I think I figured out why it takes so long. I finally figured out because, when you go to church, white people, all white church, we don't say nothing. During the service, we shut up and we listen, If somebody tries to talk when a preacher's talking, we tell them, shh, zip it, focus, okay? 2 more songs, we're out of here. I remember the first time I went to a black church, I didn't know that it's okay to yell out while the preacher's talking. I didn't know that when black people agree with the sermon, you guys don't wait. You let it out right there. So I didn't know. So I was sitting in the church, I thought they were being disrespectful when they was yelling out. Preach on it! Are you serious? You're just gonna talk when he's talking? That's really disrespectful. Why don't you zip it and focus? It's 1:30! I'm ready to go home! Another song? Are you serious? Why is she singing Alicia Keys? That has nothing to do with Jesus! You guys have a step team? Come on at 6 o'clock! I'm starving! I need breakfast! A poet! This is a talent show! I'm not paying another offering, I'm not!
A poet? A poet? Oh, that's funny.
Hilarious.
And he's this white comedian, and he's telling that in front of an African American audience, and they're loving it. It's just funny because they're not uptight about it. It's funny.
Yeah,
so funny.
That's good stuff.
And last time I was there, everyone was so kind. It was a really great environment to be in. I just got a little hungry by the end of it.
Oh, for sure.
I've
For
got
sure.
a
Bring a
question.
Twix.
Is your friend, is she, what race is she?
Are you asking if she's black?
Yeah,
Betty?
did you see how Betty can't even say it?
Yeah, I know.
Is she?
Is she what,
not.
Betty? Is she what, Betty? Make
So
her say
is
it.
she the
Make her say
only
it.
one in the church?
Yes, she is.
The only one what?
Wait,
The only one what?
wait. Let me ask my
You need to be
question.
very
Why did
specific.
she decide to do that?
So, she was raised, first of all, she was raised in inner city Chicago. She was raised in a charismatic church. She teaches inner city now. I just think that, first of all, the charismatic church is what she was used to. And so she found this church and just started going to it, and it felt like home for her. So
That's great.
That's great.
But it is weird, like that you are the only two white people in this church. See, I can say it, Rock. You were the only two white people when you visited last time. And I wonder if for them, it's the same way as if you go to like a really white church and then that one African-American family comes in, everyone's like, hey, you, come on in. Like, so that it's just a weird thing because you're like, you want to so not appear racist when you look around and there's no other black people at your church and you're like, you're going to be my best friend now. And like, look, everybody love you.
I used to love it in college when they would feature like our 5 African-American students on all of the pamphlets and publications, and they knew it too. Like I had one friend, he's like, they're going to ask me to be in another photo shoot. Watch this. Watch this. They're going to want to take my picture. They're like, hey, can we take your picture?
Yeah, it's not a surprise.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But for them, I wonder if it's like, hey, why are these 2 girls here? Like they shouldn't be here. Or is it like, they're like, hey, come worship with us. It's great. We love having you here. Look, everybody, we got white friends.
They were so welcoming. And I mean, Reba, my friend, had been going there for a while at that point, so they were just like, Reba brought a friend. That's so
cool.
Great.
That's great.
Yeah, no, they were fantastic people. They just have really long church services.
Go for a while. Yeah, like you got a carbo load, eat spaghetti the night before.
Yes.
You have to prep for black church like you're running a marathon the next day. Bring some little snack bars in your pants there.
Yeah, it sounds like it's an exercise like Zumba class too.
I mean, I was out of breath last time.
My old church, we would have to pass by, and when
pass by what?
A black church.
Thank you. Thanks for just saying it.
Does that make you feel better?
Yes, just say it. Just dude, we're all dancing around stuff here. I hate that.
So once we were going out to eat, like they would be going in at the same time we were driving to church. We would go out and eat. We would drive back home, and they would just be getting out.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that's.
But that's the thing. Like,
but that's what we feel bad about.
And that's the thing that I think sometimes we do miss in our quote unquote white churches or whatever.
Right.
Is that we sometimes don't let the Spirit move, and sometimes that's frustrating when you're visiting a church and you're like, oh yeah, let the Spirit move. This is the 5th person to talk. You're not even the pastor. Come on.
Right. I was at a white church one time where a lady started singing her own words to the song, like, and the band just kind of started going with it. Like the singer stopped singing. She's in the audience just singing away, and they just kept playing with her and let her go. It was weird for me. I'll be honest with you. I was like, wow. But we pack our services in. We have 4 services or 3 services at our church, and they're all timed, and you got to get out of this one so that everyone can get parked for the next one. So there isn't room for that spontaneity and that that spirit moving. So that part I think we do sell ourselves short on. But
you wouldn't do it still.
As horrible as it is to say, I do like the fact that I'm done in an hour. I know when it's going to be, and I've already decided where I'm going to lunch. And it's bad. I
don't think there's necessarily anything bad about that. I don't because it's all aimed. Like you're going to get the meat of the
sermon and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, well, what's bad about that?
But I think it's bad is that we complain about being long when it's like God, like I'm sure that God, like I'm sure when Jesus was hanging on the cross, he wasn't looking at his watch. Like, oh, this is so long.
And I think what's bad about it is the heart behind it. Because I know when I'm in that mindset, my heart's not in the right place. I'm like, I don't want to be in church anymore. I just want to go. I was going to go eat. Come on, guys. Like, speed this up.
Because then you're not thinking at all about why we should be there.
Right.
And when you really get down to it, we spend so little time on our faith and on our relationship with God. When you look at all the things that we crowd our lives with, and I'm speaking 100% to myself right now, all the things that I crowd in my life, and I kind of weave church and faith into that, and I give it as little time as possible. It's pathetic.
And that's the thing too about this friend that I'm visiting that I always admired about her. So she grew up in a charismatic church, and so she's used to the long church services and everything. But then in her private life, I lived with her for 3 years, and every single day, every day without fail, she had an hour-long quiet time.
Wow.
An hour-long. And she was one of the busiest people that I knew. She was, taking a full load. She was working as many hours as she could. She was involved in like 2 different activities on like crazy busy, but she still had that hour quiet time, and she would like rush to get to it, and we knew not to bother her, and that was her time. And
that's
so
amazing.
I think there is something to be said about the fact that we don't spend enough time, and that when you are in that mindset, it does change things.
I have to at least ask God to share part of the blame for my quiet time.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
You're going to go here?
He made me like ADD. Like, you can't have quiet time and make someone ADD, because it's completely like you start in and you're like, I'm all in, I'm focused, I'm going to do the squirrel. And like, you're just like, the slightest little thing distracts me. And then I'm thinking of this and that. And I have a hard time with that. Like, even in prayer, like really staying focused.
All I'm hearing are excuses.
Well, no, but it's true. Like, I find myself, I'll pray about this thing, and then all of a sudden this other thing, and I have to go, okay, get back into that. Like, I do that with reading.
I think that happens with everybody.
Do you? Because I don't know, man.
It does happen, because it happens to me. And I do think, like you were saying, you're like, well, God created me this way. I do wonder if he does kind of sometimes appreciate you talking to him, and you're like, oh, squirrel. Oh, hey, God, speaking of squirrels,
right,
you know?
Yeah. Like, does he get mad about that?
I don't think so. I really don't.
Not.
So I don't know. Yeah, I get distracted too, though.
Yeah, or like I'll be praying about somebody or something, and so then like they're on my mind, and then I start thinking of something funny that they did or something like that, and then I'm thinking of our interaction, and all of a sudden I'm way off over here on the left, and I have to go back to go, okay, that's right, I've got to get back to praying for them and not just thinking about that relationship or whatever.
And then I think that just goes back to, once again, sometimes our prayer mindset is like, okay, hey, joking around, la la la, dear Heavenly Father, Almighty God in heaven, la, la, la. And we have this proper prayer language, and sometimes like I'm trying to get myself out of that habit, because that's how I grew up in the church, and having these beautiful, eloquent prayers, and just going back to that conversation, even if it does involve being distracted by 10 different things.
There's a weird thing too. There's a fine line between that, because I'm like that too. Like, I tend to be very just matter of fact with God, and you hear people pray like at church, and they put Jesus in after every half sentence, like, we just come to you today, Jesus, and thank you for this Jesus food, Jesus, and thank you, Jesus, for the beautiful blessings, Jesus, that you've bestowed Jesus upon us, and like, so there's that, and so I try to not be like that, but then there's the person that's like, Daddy, I just love you. Like, that whole Abba Father Daddy thing. And you're like, ugh! You
still want some reverence in it, for sure. And to be honest, that's something that I'm trying to figure out right now. So
yeah, trying to balance between the two. Because I definitely err on the side of, oh, you know what? God understands that he made me funny and I can be flippant with things. But I mean, back in the Old Testament, people that didn't take God seriously, there was some smiting going on. And I'm thankful every day that Old Testament God seems a little bit distant from New Testament God, and that he doesn't really smite like that anymore. But I think that we definitely lose reverence for him, when Jesus is the dude, and maybe that's how some people have to connect with him, and it's because it's who they are. But I think that there definitely needs to be some sort of reverence inside of this. And it's probably different for everybody.
Yeah.
So, all right, you know what? I think that's going to have to do it for the podcast today. That was actually got a little deep there, too. Weird. And Becca is headed out to Illinois.
Indiana.
One of those with an I that starts with an I and ends with an A. They both do.
Nope,
not really.
Illinois does not end in an A. Illinois.
Yeah, it is a great place. And so have a safe and wonderful trip. And I guess I won't see you guys on Monday, so there won't be a podcast on Monday unless you, Zach and Betty, do one.
We'll probably do it, because we're going to be doing news and least of these still.
Oh, good.
So at least, at the very, very, very least, we'll string those together. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, so maybe, I'd be good if you guys did a little podcast, because Zach will be back too, so the three of you could do something. I think that'd be awesome, because people love you guys. They love you when I'm gone. That's what they do. All right, so that's going to do it for the precast. On with the podcast.
Ta-da!
This is the Wally Show, and last night I did something that I have not done in years. I did something by myself that I have not done in years, and I kind of can't believe I was able to accomplish it. Becca, you got any thoughts?
I think you gave yourself a pedicure.
Oh, wow, that's a good one. No, I trim my toenails every few months, and they don't grow very fast. Betty Rock?
You were able to run a lap.
Run a lap
around the couch.
Yeah, that both of those those hurt a little, but no, I could not accomplish that task. I wish I could. No, I actually did taxes last night, but not mine. I did my daughter's taxes because she got her Chick-fil-A thing, and I'm like, man, she made so little money. There's no way she has to do taxes. So I get the form out. I get the 1040 EZ form, and I'd forgotten how I know it's really easy, but it's really confusing. Like tax code, reading that stuff, you think you've read it right, and then you reread it. So I do her taxes, and I think I've got it all dialed in, and she owes $120-something.
Oh, no.
I know.
Oh, that's terrible when you don't make much to
Yeah,
begin
when you
with.
made $1,200, because they only took out like $6 for taxes. So then I'm like, this just doesn't seem right. This is not fair. And so I went back and redid it, and I had misunderstood one of the instructions. So now she gets her $6 back.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But then I still didn't trust myself because I have somebody do my taxes and it's not because I'm wealthy, it's because I'm stupid. And so there's no way I can understand all of these things. And, when you have stocks or whatever being sold and dividends, I got no idea. So I did TurboTax. I've been seeing them say, file your 1040 Easy for free online. And I'm like, there's a catch. There's no way it's right. So I go and I do the TurboTax thing. It comes out with the exact same thing that I got. So it checked my math basically. So I was right. And she gets her $6 back. And then it actually filed it electronically for free.
Oh, wow.
No gimmicks. I couldn't believe it. Like, how many times in life do you do something? I wish I was getting paid by TurboTax, but how many times in life does somebody say something is free and it truly is? There's a couple things you have to, say, no, I don't want this upgrade. I don't want that upgrade. A couple little things like that, but it wasn't. And I'm the first to resist that and go, oh, now that's why you got me here. But it wasn't enough to make it, so that it wasn't a good experience still. So yeah, if you're filing a real simple 1040 Easy or even some of the 1040As or whatever those things are, it was not a bad deal to knock it out. And it took 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
TurboTax. So easy, even a Wally can do it.
Yeah, that should be their slogan. This is the Wally Show, and Valentine's Day coming up right around the corner. So I thought I would give you kind of a pre-Valentine's Day perspective on something. I found this thing that, was talking about how much people spend on Valentine's Day, and it's usually guys spend twice as much as girls on Valentine's Day. And I think there's a pressure for us to do that, where it's we're like, yeah, I brought you this diamond ring, and girls are like, I made you a card, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Is that you?
Yeah, I actually already know what Joey spent this year on me.
Really?
I mean, we share an Amazon account and a bank account, so I don't know what he got me. But I do know what I spent. And it was around $85.
Okay, that's not too bad.
And I spent $0.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I had a homemade gift.
Yeah, that's awesome. Guys love homemade gifts. We're big fans. It's not a wallet or sunglasses or because I found this other thing that said what guys want for Valentine's Day, and it's things like practical things or things that get them a little closer to their dreams or hobbies. Or the greatest gift, one guy said, is that my wife and I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. That's the best gift I've ever gotten. Because we went for a lot of years where I felt the pressure because her birthday's the week before, so I'd write a nice birthday card about how much I love her, and then I'd buy her a present. And then I'd have to do Valentine's Day right on the heels of that, and I'm like, I already told you I loved you a lot, and so now I gotta do that again. And so thank goodness now we just do a card. I write something nice in it, and she writes something, and that's what our Valentine's Day is. We don't even go out really.
I tried to give that option to Joey, but he is such a gifts guy. That's how he shows love. That's one of his love languages.
That's good for you.
It's very good for me, but I don't think I ever have the option of skipping something. I think that would hurt him.
Well, the thing that I found, the good news is though, is that it says that guys that don't spend a lot of money on you on Valentine's Day mean that they're actually really into you.
Huh.
Yeah, then the reason was they think of you now as a team or a unit, so by spending less on you, it's more that you save for the group, and stuff like that, versus wasting it on flowers or something. I think that it's, I think maybe there's another element too, is you feel secure in the relationship where you don't feel the need to go overboard. Because sometimes I know you're dating and you're like, oh, we've got to just really ramp this up, and every year has to be bigger than the last year. And it's when you finally get secure in the relationship, you realize that that's not it. That actually Valentine's Day is the thing that's supposed to happen the other 364 days. Where you are in love and you don't have to go overboard to show it on this one day. But I still think a nice thing, a nice gesture, is a good thing. Your thing for Joey is actually a good idea.
Yeah, I actually wrote him a mini book. And so I typed it up last night, and it's 18 pages, but there are different chapters to it. And so it talked about like how we met and how I was feeling when we first started dating. And then I did like top 10 big things I love about you, and then the top 10 little things I love about you.
Like, let me just tell you this. Like, I love the idea. Like, even Betty's like, oh, that's cute. Like, so I love the idea. This is where I think you went wrong, is the quiz at the end. Like, having the quiz at the end, I think just really kind of ruined that that present.
Rock what you got, light up the lot. No one can rock the way you rock.
This is the Wally Show, and we are running out of time for you or your child to get their audition in for our Rock What You Got for the scholarship to Camp Electric. And it's one of those things that's really fun for us to be able to break new artists, you know, like Danny Goki or for King and Country. You know, they all started somewhere. And so for us, we're giving you that chance to give your child a head start in the music business by learning from some of the professionals that they listen to in, you know, different Christian bands, because all the teachers are in your favorite Christian bands, which is really cool. I would have loved this as a kid.
Oh, absolutely. This is something that I wish they would have had, because it not only helps you hone your music skills, but it kind of gives you that good foundation going into a music business down the road too.
Yeah, because it's all about faith and integration of that into your music. Like, I could have benefited this because I was awesome as a kid at like the stage stuff for music. Like
I could see that.
Yeah, but not the skills. Horrible.
I could see that.
Horrible at that. So I needed both, you know. And so this is a chance for you to get those auditions in at allwally.com. All you do is shoot a 1-minute video of you rocking what you got on YouTube there. Give us the link, and we'll pick some finalists, and then we'll have people voting on them like kind of American Idol style tomorrow. Here's one that just came in, I believe, last night. Mm-hmm. So this is hot off the presses. This is Corey rocking what she's got.
Like this, the fourth, the fifth, my four with a major league, the barefoot king composing hallelujah, hallelujah.
How old is she?
She's 15.
That's a big voice for 15.
It is a big voice for 15. But think about how much bigger it could be if she got to go to Camp Electric and kind of work on it.
Yeah, kind of Lauren Daigley, you know? So very nice. So that's just one of the options that you may have a chance to vote on. But get your audition video in if you have always wanted to go to Camp Electric. I can't say enough good things about it. My daughter goes every year and loves it, looks forward to it. This is the camp. She's made friends there over the last 4 years that they stay in contact throughout the year, and they all plan to go the same week and see each other because kids come from all over the country, and it's a really great experience. So if you want to go for free with a scholarship, get your audition video. And if you're a parent, you're like, yeah, I just want to send my kid and get them involved in this, you can use the promo code Wally and save $100 right now, right off the top, if you go to allwally.com. But get your submissions in because the deadline is Sunday at midnight. It's Sunday at midnight. This thing's over, so you got to get your entries in by then, and don't wait. We want to hear more of what you got.
Sometimes the news isn't good, but here's what you need to know. It's the Wally Show News.
And Becca's going to get you caught up right now.
It's unfortunately been a terribly tragic week in law enforcement. In 4 days this week, 5 officers were killed in the line of duty. All 5 died while approaching armed suspects.
That's amazing. And I know people get really bent out of shape when there's a video of cops doing something that looks inappropriate at the time because only this much of the video gets seen. But these are the guys that are working and the ladies that are working every day around people that want to hurt them, you know? And so it's a tough job. And but no one's upset about this today. That's the disturbing thing about this. It's like no one, seems to get up in arms or riot or be mad that officers doing their job have been killed, protecting people. And it's just, that's just part of the job,
And the terrible part too is that brings the total number to officers killed in the line of duty to 8 this year so far. Last year at this point there was only 1 death reported. It's been an unusually fatal year, unfortunately, so far. Every corporation is a little different, and the CEO of Whole Foods has some interesting ideals when it comes to business. He said recently that he would never hire someone who lacked humility or had an oversense of self-promotion.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting take, and that's not the only thing Whole Foods is doing differently. It's introducing a chain of stores called Friends of the 365 that will be marketed toward millennials.
Friends of the 365?
I guess 365 days a year? That's the only thing I can figure.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate ultimate ultra hipster thing that I don't get. I'm not a millennial.
Is it a grocery store?
Yeah.
Ish.
It could just simply be a smaller market that incorporates more technology for millennials, or it could include services like tattoos.
Oh.
Or sell records.
Fantastic. Enjoy
Yeah.
your more expensive cheese because there's a tattoo shop in there.
Right.
Like, I don't understand how that's going to work. It's kind of like our Kroger. There's a Kroger next to us that started selling clothes. They used to sell furniture, and then now they sell clothes. I'm like,
They're cute clothes, though.
are they really?
Yeah.
I'm like, who's buying their clothes at Kroger while you go pick up some milk? Oh, really? You did?
I mean,
have you bought it?
I mean-
have you bought something? Have you bought clothes at Kroger?
I mean, there's this shirt, and it was really cute. It was $12.
Oh,
How do you
my
pass that
goodness.
up?
You bought a shirt at Kroger?
And then you get fuel points.
Oh,
How is this a bad
goodness.
thing?
Has Wally commented on it? Like, has he given you a compliment?
Yeah, I don't know which
don't
one it
think
is.
so.
I'm going to guess every day.
Okay.
Every day when you come in with a shirt. Next week, wear it one day, and let me see if I can guess the Kroger
All
shirt.
right.
Okay.
That'll be our game. And finally, Fitbits are useful tools if you're trying to track your activity or your sleep schedule. But recently, it did a bit more for one woman. Yvonne and her husband got Fitbits for the new year to, try to see how they're doing and track their progress. But something was off with Yvonne's. Her heart rate was charting consistently higher than it should have been. And so her husband went online to just ask other Fitbit users, hey, is this a common problem? Is there something wrong with the machine? And immediately people were like, well, she's pregnant. She's pregnant.
Really?
Yeah, and so he's like, that's odd, I'll look into it. Turns out they
No
were right.
way.
Yeah, a higher heart rate is a sign, is an early way to detect pregnancy.
No way.
Yeah.
I never knew that. And so they found that out from the Fitbit.
And the internet. Strangers on the internet.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's a great thing. I always see people with Fitbits on, and so say you're not in the best shape yet, and you got the Fitbit on, and I see them, and I go, oh, good for them. They're working on it. That's good. I want to buy a Fitbit so that people can have that same thought about me, but I'm not going to be working on it. But they just think I'm in progress. Like I think that's why a lot of people wear them, to be honest with you. All right, that's your news for this hour. Thank you so much, Miss Becca. Hey, it's the Wally Show. Who's this?
Hi, my name is Heather.
What's up, Heather?
Well, I had a comment about Kroger selling clothes.
Yeah, I just thought it was odd that our grocery store would sell clothing, but not Becca. She actually bought something from there.
I'm from Alaska and the transplant down here. And a couple of years ago, Kroger bought out our big store up there called Fred Meyer.
Oh, yeah.
Which forever was like our one-stop shopping. So we'd go get clothes there and food and like lawn and garden and anything that you needed, you could get at Fred Meyer.
But can I just say that is Alaska? That's supposed to be it. Like every Alaskan TV show I ever watched, it's like you have one store, and it makes sense there. And like you're trading seal oil for things, so like it makes sense there. This is the lower 48. We do things differently here.
I know it, but I have to tell you that some of the Krogers I've seen that have started pulling in some of the style from Fred Meyer just make me, glad that they're doing that because it reminds me of home.
That's exactly it. Yeah, you're back at home. You're back in there buying some mucklucks and, keeping those feet warm.
That's right.
I watch too many Alaskan TV shows, I think.
Yeah, my kids don't let me watch them anymore, so.
How long have you been slumming it down here with us?
5 years.
Oh, really? Do you miss Alaska?
Oh, all the time.
What's the coldest it ever got for you?
The coldest that I have ever been, I work in medevac, and I went up to Barrow one day to pick up a patient, and it was like 55 below zero, and we had like a 50-mile-an-hour wind.
Oh.
That was really cold.
Yeah, that was really cold. Yeah, that goes without saying.
Yes.
This is the Wally Show, and, new relationships tend to be a little tricky to navigate. Everyone kind of wants to know how serious this is and where's this going, define the relationship. So here is something that can help you know just how serious your relationship is or kind of where you stand. Netflix, of all things. Netflix, yeah. According to this recent survey, 51% of people said that sharing their Netflix password is a sign that the relationship is serious.
Wow.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Becca, I didn't know that me and you were such close friends.
We are. We're in a serious relationship.
That is
Yeah.
precious. Thank you so much.
You're
she shared
welcome.
her Hulu password with me.
And while that's great news for you, and it doesn't sound bad at all, the bad news for me is Paul and I are in a serious relationship because Paul, a guy I work with, let me use his Netflix password to watch, Sherlock. And all this time I just thought he was being nice. Ooh.
He just
he
wanted to be closer
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, I want to be best friends.
It makes sense though, because you're finally at that place where A, you can let your guard down and trust somebody with your passwords and almost kind of your finances in a way, and B, trust them to not make fun of you
Yes.
for your movie selection.
Yes, because you can see what they watch. And so then you're like, oh, I don't like this person's taste in movies at all. Goodbye. So, and 17% of people said they wouldn't share their Netflix password with someone until they were engaged.
Wow.
Like, if you've been dating for somebody for a while and you are, serious and you're talking about marriage and you're not sharing your Netflix password, you're holding on to some compartments there that you're going to need to let go of.
That's going to be their proposal.
Yeah.
They're going to get the invite to Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, seriously.
What are you trying to say?
I don't even need a ring. This is enough. This is beautiful. So here's what I'm curious about, though. How did you know that the relationship was serious? What was it? Was it something ridiculous like a Netflix password? I'm curious because it's probably different for everybody, and I want to know how you knew that it was serious. So how did you know that your relationship was serious?
My now husband, at the time boyfriend, is a basketball coach. And we broke down game film together. We figured out opponents, and we went scouting for other teams together.
No way. And so, he figured, if this girl can handle this, then she's the one for me.
Absolutely. I'm the best assistant coach ever.
Well, you know what? You're his assistant coach in life.
Absolutely.
But let's be honest, you're really the head coach, aren't you?
Okay, well, don't tell him that. It only works if he doesn't know.
Yes, exactly. Mindy, what is something that maybe is odd that let you know your relationship was serious?
You have to be a Monty Python to get the reference, a Monty Python fan. But my future husband and I and a group of friends went to see a movie. And it was some very somber movie like The Shawshank Redemption, I think, if I remember correctly. And we were sitting there, and there was this really quiet, depressing part. And at the same time, my future husband and I both kind of just sang out, bring out your dead from the Monty Python film. And it was like, he's the one.
That is so funny. And I totally understand that because it means you're on the same page with something like comedy.
Exactly. To this day, we've been married for 19 years, and it's like he's just a person that I can laugh with in situations that are not appropriate. So.
Yeah, exactly. I totally get that. Because, I judge people sometimes by my references. Like, do you get the movie reference that I'm dropping? And if you do, I'm like, oh, good, that's a person I'm going to connect with.
And the good news is, if you had broken up, it probably wouldn't have stung as badly if you had just said,
it's only a flesh wound. So, Michelle, how did you know that your relationship was moving in that direction or was serious?
I dated my husband when I was 15. I'm 49 now. We've been married 31 years. And my mom, she kept saying, oh, you'll find a new boyfriend. You'll have another boyfriend next week, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, no, Mom, this is the guy. This is the guy. Because the initial, that way I keep your initial. Because when my mother remarried, she was an MM, and when she remarried, she was an MP. And so at that time, I was an MM, and I said, and his last name starts with P, so I'm going to be an MP.
Oh, really? And you're like, that's it. You know what? It makes sense, and this is it. And you could laugh at that if you hadn't been married for all those years.
Right. My kid thinks it's a little weird, but...
Let me ask you this honestly. As a parent now, if your daughter came up to you and said, I know this is the one because initials, you would have to be like, okay, no, you're crazy.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. So other than Netflix, Brittany, what is a way that you knew your relationship was moving in the serious direction?
One year for Christmas, my husband gave me this little box that was really heavy. So when I opened it, it ended up being shotgun shells, and I was kind of surprised. Well, then he was walking up behind me, and he had me a shotgun. It was a 410 shotgun that was made for me so we can go hunting together.
So the way you knew you were in a serious relationship is your man gave you not only a shotgun, but also gave you the shells to load it.
Correct.
Something I would never, ever tempt my wife with.
Exactly.
They say it's smart not to talk about religion or politics.
He's the logic vacuum.
Well, we've never been that smart. It's the Wally Show News.
And Becca's going to get you caught up right now. What you got?
There's another debate for the Democratic candidates last night, and after Bernie beat Hillary in New Hampshire this week, it seems...
Who beat Bernie Sanders?
Yes, Bernie Sanders.
Awesome. You should have to do Bernie Sanders every time you talk about him.
Bernie Sanders beat Hillary in New Hampshire.
Nicely done.
Thank you. And it seems that Hillary is kind of changing her strategy in this election. She seemed to side a lot with President Obama and criticize Sanders for not doing the same.
The kind of criticism that we've heard from Senator Sanders about our president, I expect from Republicans. I do not expect from someone running for the Democratic nomination to succeed President Obama.
That is
Madam Secretary, that is a low blow.
Madam Secretary. I know this is going to sound horrible, but I'm going to vote for Sanders, not for his politics, but just because I want to get better at my impersonation of him. And the only way you're going to do that is through State of the Union addresses.
You probably shouldn't vote if that's your reasoning.
I know it's wrong. I know there are going to be people blowing me up all day. Do you know he's a Democratic socialist? I know, but I just love his voice. I wish I could make that like a sleep machine for me, where he just talked me to sleep.
Good news, I have more Bernie Sanders clips.
Yay! Yay!
Hillary kept attacking them, but Bernie had a good response to it.
Those kinds of personal assessments and charges are ones that I find particularly troubling.
One of us ran against Barack Obama. I was not that candidate.
I was not that candidate. I love that guy. One of us ran against Barack Obama.
Oh, that was a good one.
I was not that guy.
You've been practicing all morning.
I'm working on
Now
it.
you're sounding like Nixon. I don't.
It's not my fault Bernie Sanders sounds like Nixon. Don't judge me. That was spot on.
That was you.
I am not a crook.
This is a bizarre story. A man in Canada has been found after he was missing for 30 years. The weird part, though, is that the man himself is the one who solved the case.
What?
Apparently, 30 years ago, he left home, fell, hit his head, and totally forgot who he was.
No way. Real amnesia?
That
amnesia never happens. Everybody has like fake amnesia.
So he's been living this different life, but somehow last month something jogged his memory and this name popped into his head. So he Googled it, and it was
him.
He found his missing persons case.
No way. He solved his own case,
He
even
solved
with
his own case.
amnesia.
Yeah,
weird.
Like that is every like soap opera ever written. That is crazy.
Never happens in real life. And finally, prom is a few months away, which means the promposals have begun.
Ugh.
This one is really sweet, though. A girl in Michigan asked her friend who has special needs in front of the entire school at a pep rally by having the principal help him open a box with a note on it.
And it says, I'll ask you to prom when pigs fly.
Yeah, even Betty Rock and I both just made the same face. We kind of tilted our head to the side.
It sounds like a diss.
Yeah,
right?
it is. I'll ask you to prom when pigs fly. So it's setting it up like you're going to embarrass him or whatever. And then
But then he opened the box and it had pig balloons flying out of it.
Oh, that's precious.
So that's how she asked him
That
to
was
prom.
really
cute.
sweet.
Still kind of like, it felt wrong.
Seems like a really messed up way to get there,
Yes.
honestly.
Maybe it was an inside joke, guys.
Maybe.
You're just not part of the joke.
I don't know.
Losers.
It seems messed up, man. Like, I love the fact that that this girl did this. That's really, really cool. Because I had actually seen the video, and you see, like, this kid's face just light up.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, what a great moment for this kid. But how they got there,
Right.
with the principal involved.
Break his heart first.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, now I get it. Now it's funny. Yeah, there you go. All right, that's your news for this hour. Thank you, Ms. Becca. This is the Wally Show, and we have a podcast. You can check it out at allwally.com or in the iTunes store. And it's a place where we actually will discuss some things that we don't get to on the show, and actually in longer form. So if you like the longer form version of shows, then that's for you for sure, and it's free. But we had talked about this guy who had emailed, and he felt guilty about not stopping for a lady that was on the side of the road as he drove by, like on the freeway, and we kind of discussed that. But then it morphed into this other conversation a little bit about what happens as a guy when you do stop to help a lady on the side of the road, because I've done this before, and how do you make them feel safe and like so that you're not threatening? Like as a woman, how do you want to be approached? Because we should do the right thing as guys, but there's part of us that's like, I don't want to freak her out even more, so you just keep going or whatever. Because like you get out of the car, you're like, hey, how are you? I'm not gonna hurt you. Like you probably shouldn't start with that.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you're overcompensating for something. I'm not sure what your intentions are.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but I don't know how to say, I'm not going to hurt you, like non-verbally or in another way, basically, to say that. That I'm just here. Like, I got out of the car one time. I was like, hey, how are you? I have a wife and a daughter.
Oh, that's even creepier.
Is that worse?
Yes.
Because then I'm like, I would want someone that was not crazy to stop and help them. Then you say the word crazy. Then you're hearing it. And then you just turn around, get back in your car and leave, But I'm like, yeah, but I would want something to help them. Can I help you? Do you need any help? Can I call somebody for you or whatever? And so it's just weird. Like, you want to help, but as women, I think that's probably a really scary situation already, and it can be made worse quickly. Has anybody ever helped you guys? Have you ever been stuck on the side of the road?
Yeah, I was once, and I it was thankfully in a part of town that I felt safe in. I think that's part of the tricky part
Right.
there. And so I just cracked my window down a tiny little bit, and thankfully the first guy that came was an off-duty cop. And so he explained that to me, and
At
I
least
believed
that's
him.
what he said.
I
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like,
Yeah, because what that meant is that guy had a gun. Like,
No.
you didn't
Oh,
think
no.
this all the way through. So you can't win.
Seriously, I guess not.
All right, so that's what I'm curious about. Like, as women, if you're stranded on the side of the road, what could we as guys do to help but make you feel safe? Is there a right way, a wrong way,
I
and a
honestly
win?
can't think of a solution. Like, I can't think of an answer. I don't know
Really,
if there's
Rock?
really any way that I would feel safe.
Probably, like, if you're maybe if you're wearing like a ski mask, like say you were going skiing and you stopped to help somebody, you should take that off first.
Probably. That's a good first step.
Okay, so
maybe not going up to their window and be like, "Ah, did I scare you?"
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure how to do this. So if you have some thoughts, I'd love to hear them right now. 877-91-WALLY is the number. That can help everybody. And I think it can make, life for women and men better in this whole situation. So 877-91-WALLY is the number. This is the Wally Show, and a lot of times as guys, you want to help if you see a lady on the side of the road, but you're afraid that it's going to freak her out. And so how, as a woman, would you like to be approached in that situation? Like, what is something guys could do to make you feel more at ease?
By announcing themselves. My daughter and I were stuck. She had a blowout, and I went to help her, and a guy pulled over. And the first thing he said was, "I've seen your car around in town. My wife works at the pharmacy," and described his wife.
Interesting. Because if he hadn't added the part about his wife, like, "I've seen your car around town before," it could be creepy.
Yeah, it could be. And he said he was a member of the church that we were attending at the time. So
mentioning church, okay, that's good. So for you, information about this person in a real quick time frame helps you make a decision.
yes, because I knew who his wife was, and he described her.
But you didn't know him.
No.
So there you go. That's the key then, I guess, is to try to give you some connecting point to let you know that you're okay and that I'm not a crazy person. This is the Wally Show, and we're trying to figure this out. Like, if you see a lady on the side of the road, what is something a guy... Because, I mean, we want to help, but what is a way we can put your mind at ease, if you're a woman, about us approaching you to help out? So what do you think?
What I would do is, first introduce yourself so you give somebody a name. And then maybe just ask, I'd like to help, but, are you comfortable with that? And what can I do for you?
And you do this from, like, a distance. I think that might be important,
I was going
too.
to say that, too. Like, from a distance, it seems like you're respecting their space and you don't want to freak them out. So I think I would feel more comfortable if they understood that, too.
Yeah, I definitely would do that. You got to give somebody their space.
Yeah, like, I didn't walk right up to the lady. She was, like, by the middle of her car. I stopped back at the back of her car, the front of my car, and was telling her, "Hey, do you need any help?" I gave her that space. So, like, I guess mentally, she would have an out. Like, if I was a crazy person, she'd have an escape route.
Right.
But I guess if you run right up on them and, "Hey, can I help you?" You're going to freak them out a
Shake
bit.
their hand, be like, "Hey, let's be best buds."
Because that's normally how I am. I'm like, "Let's be best friends." This is the Wally Show, and, when guys are driving down the highway and they see a damsel in distress, we want to help, but it's a weird thing because, it can be scary for women. So what's a good way as a woman, Shelby, to let someone on the side of the road know, "Hey, I'm just here to help. I'm not going to hurt you"?
I personally think that if a guy pulled up in front of the woman's car, but was a good distance away instead of right up on top of them and made hand signals to show that they wanted to help.
What kind of hand signals are you thinking? Jazz hands? Like, what would be a good, "I want to help you" hand signal? Because, my luck, I'd be trying to, do my hands, in a circle, showing a tire, and it would look like I was trying to choke something.
No, to point to yourself and then to point to the other person.
3 words. First word, short.
Yeah. Yes, charades.
Yes.
That's a great, everyone loves charades. What a great idea. This is the Wally Show, and for guys, it's a difficult thing. If you see a lady stranded on the side of the road, you want to help out, but women in those situations are taught to be leery of men, and rightfully so, sadly. So how do you, as a guy, approach a woman in this situation? So what do you think, Ann, is a good way for us to do that?
Keep your mouth shut. Don't ask personal questions because, again, conversation is personal. Just go up, ask
ask if they need help. Yes, sir, we do. Change the tire, get it done, and leave.
So no human interaction whatsoever?
That's creepy, too.
Not necessarily no human interaction. I was in Atlanta, 5 o'clock rush hour. A gentleman finally stopped to help me. I just got off work, and all he said was, do you need your tire changed? I said, yes, sir, can you help? He said, yes, ma'am, and he changed my tire. I stood about 7 feet behind him and just watched him do it. He changed the tire. He said, is that all you need? I said, yes, sir, and he left.
I mean, then that doesn't seem like you're thankful enough. So then there's that awkwardness of like, well, I feel like I need to tip him or something.
Okay, so keep my mouth shut, change the tire, and then just disappear right off into the sunset. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
These are the least important stories out of Hollywood, but nonetheless entertaining. It's the least of these.
And Betty Rock has got it for you. What's going on, girl?
Well, Valentine's Day is this coming Sunday, but finding someone to share the day with may not should be your biggest concern.
You know, in the movie Ghostbusters 2, which came out in 1989, they say the world is going to end on Valentine's Day 2016, which is good news if you haven't made a dinner reservation yet.
I didn't remember that from the movie.
I never saw either one. So.
Yeah, now I'm scared. Now I'm terrified. I was just terrified of not being loved. Now I'm terrified that the world's going to end and I won't be loved.
Nothing says I have lots of money like owning a pet monkey.
Oh, I've always wanted a monkey.
I thought you wanted a kangaroo.
Well, I want a kangaroo too. I want a monkey riding a kangaroo. Is that too much to ask for?
Yes.
Maybe a monkey in the pouch. That's all I want is a monkey in a pouch of a kangaroo
precious.
riding a dolphin.
A baby monkey with a diaper.
Yes, that's
That'd
it.
be so cute.
What I want, for Christmas or birthday or whatever, is a baby monkey in a kangaroo pouch while the kangaroo is riding a dolphin. That's all I want. I don't think it's too much to ask. Thank you.
Wow, you're asking more than Justin Bieber, but someone did actually give him for his birthday a monkey, and he named him Mally.
Okay.
So, anyways, he must have loved this monkey so much because on a trip to Germany, he got all the paperwork together to make sure he could take his monkey with him. No, customs wouldn't allow it.
No.
So instead, they put him in the zoo. And
What?
And they tell Justin, you have the chance to get him back. He passed it up.
Oh, no. Boo! You
Left
had a
the
monkey!
in the
Never leave
zoo.
a monkey behind.
Yes, I think
And
that's
he
a motto.
did. He
No.
left it behind.
Boo,
Does he
Bieber.
visit it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
No, because he'll just go buy
He's
another
heartless.
monkey. He'll buy another
That's
monkey.
terrible.
Like, no, boo.
I know.
That monkey had it all. That monkey was going to ride in Lamborghinis. That monkey had it all. Now he's just stuck in a zoo. Come on, Biebs. Go back and get your monkey.
Heartless. Speaking of celebrities with pet monkeys, Michael Jackson's pets made it difficult for him and Lionel Richie to write the big hit, We Are the World.
We are the world. We are children.
Yeah, you always wonder what's going on when they're recording things and stuff. And so was it like chaotic with... Because
Yes.
Jackson had a bunch
Michael
of pets.
Jackson had a lot of pets. He had an albino python
Nice.
that kept freaking Lionel Richie out. Also, he had a dog that kept barking and a parrot that kept yelling at the dog to be quiet.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the whole time they're trying to make magic for the
peaceful
world.
song, yeah.
And there's anything
chaos
but.
all around them.
Shut that dumb dog up! Shut it up now! I swear I am going to come over there and I am going to kill that dog! We are the world! You know? That would be an amazing thing to sit in and watch that happen. All right, that is going to do it for your least of these. Nice barking, by the way, Rock. You
Thanks,
kind of
that was
killed that.
incredible.
Even unplanned, you killed that. Nicely done. This is the Wally Show, and how many times have you heard someone say it, or you've said it yourself? How do I just know God's will for my life? We were at church the other day, and it was a bunch of good stuff in there, and I pulled this one thought out of it, and maybe it'll help you as you kind of wrestle through that, because I know it's been a thing in my life too. Like, how do I know God's will for my life? Because we're always looking 1 year, 5 years, 10 years down the road. And the speaker that we had, it was like a guest speaker, was talking about how the key to finding God's will in your life is just to be with him today. Listen for his voice in all those small things today. Wake up in the morning, give God your first thoughts today, and focus on that relationship. And if you do that, these individual moments turn into days, which will turn into months and then years. And before you know it, you realize that you've been in the middle of his will the whole time because you've listened to him and followed him in the little things, which have a way of becoming big things that make up the rest of our lives, and especially when you're younger, you have this thing of trying to make the right decision, because if I make the wrong decision, I'm somehow out of God's will. And I don't don't think it works that way personally.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we get so obsessed with the big picture of like, God, what's your will for my career in 10 years?
Right.
You know, instead of, God, what's your will for my career today?
Or even, what's your will for me in my life today?
Yeah.
I think God is so less concerned with our career than we are.
Yeah.
Because he's like, look, I'm going to use whoever is going to commit to serving me in wherever they are, whatever capacity that they're in. I think that's what he's looking for. He's way more concerned with our character than our career.
Yeah.
Because, the careers are going to come and go, but the one constant through our life should be our relationship with him and how we ultimately point other people to him. And so I thought it was a good reset, for me, because I definitely get caught up in this stuff. And, I think when you hear people say, oh, I fell into this career, that's what makes me think that maybe that's how it looks when we simply seek God and we let him worry about the outcome of the journey. We're just called to take that first step, and, he'll kind of do the rest. And before you know it, when you're just listening to his voice for those small things, you find yourself right smack dab in the middle of his will, which is ironically where we were trying to get the whole time. This here's the Wally Show, and we're going to do a little something called Smarter Than a Rock. And what you got to do is you got to get past the veritable steel trap that is Betty Rock's mind for knowledge, and especially as she's going to college at CCU, Colorado Christian University, she is getting the smarts up in that noodle, and she's going to be tough to beat.
I'm going to give you some news that might shock you.
What?
And it might intimidate anybody that wants to call.
Please, give it to me.
I'm on the Dean's List.
No, you are not.
What?
You are CCU Dean's List approved?
Yes.
What? Nice.
I know.
Good
my
for
GPA
you.
is high. I've gotten A's in every class.
I am so proud of you.
Now, I haven't taken a math class yet.
Hey, we're all gonna. Trust me, we all have one class that we struggle with, and math would be mine too. I would struggle through math. So.
I'll do your homework for you.
Oh, fantastic!
No.
Don't tell
Because
them.
look how proud she is of herself right now. Don't take that,
Yeah,
Rock.
no, I will,
Dean's List.
totally.
That's impressive, man.
Thank
See,
you.
there you go. And so what we're gonna do, Betty Rock is heading into another class, American history. So to get her ready, we're kind of, helping her bone up on some of the stuff so she can stay on the Dean's List. Keep that A, girl. We're gonna do American history questions, okay?
Oh, joy.
Yeah. So now when you get them on a test, though, you'll be like, perfect. I got
Remember
this.
going over that.
Exactly. Wally tutored me. How great is this? Because I teach there, and so this will be like tutoring for you for free. How great. All right, so we're going to play Smarter Than a Rock right now, which means we need you. 877-91-WALLY. If you want to play the game, you can win a fabulous prize, and, maybe even find out one day that this game helped you if you end up in an American history class. Who knows how things like that go. But Betty Rock, Dean's List, that's impressive. Nicely done.
Thank you so
much. All right,
much.
877-91-WALLY is the number if you want to play Smarter Than a Rock right now. This is the Wally Show, and it's time for Smarter Than a Rock, where we have Wendy taking on Betty Rock, who is currently getting her degree at Colorado Christian University. Wendy, what is your level of education?
I have a degree in elementary education.
Uh-oh, because we're going to be covering American history, so you probably know some stuff.
Well, I homeschool my kids, so I do know a little, but history was always my worst subject, so it could be close.
Right now, your kids are going to be like, oh, I hope she misses this. Oh, I hope she misses
They
this.
are not in the car. I just dropped them off at PE, so...
All right, well, here we go. Question number 1 for Miss Betty Rock. Who said, give me liberty or give me death? Who was the guy that said that? Was it John Hancock, Paul Revere, or Patrick Henry? What do you think?
Oh, the person I was going to guess is not on that list.
Oh, that's a problem. Who are you going to guess?
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, like on the internet, every quote is like, said Abraham Lincoln. So no, it's not.
What are the options?
John Hancock, Paul Revere, or Patrick Henry? What do you think?
What was the last one? One more time.
Patrick Henry.
The first one.
John Hancock. No!
Who was it?
The last one.
Oh,
Patrick Henry. Oh, nuts. All right, here we go. Your question now, Wendy. What is John Hancock well known for? Being the second president, having the largest signature on the Declaration of Independence, or starting an insurance company, the first insurance company in the New World?
No, number 2, the largest signature.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Did you know that?
Yes.
I thought
you're
yours-
giving her easy. Give me her question.
I thought yours was
Give me her
easier.
question.
Okay, you want me to give you hers?
Yes.
Okay. We'll switch
Honest,
it up.
truthful.
Honest, truthful. What was the name of the Broadway musical, the newest one based on a colonial leader? What was the name of the Broadway musical? It's very popular. My daughter loves it, wants to see it. I've sung a bunch of songs from it here on the show. This was her question. Jefferson, Hamilton, Washington, or Trumpington?
Well, trumpet sounds like fun.
Right.
But I don't know of a trumpeting.
Trumpington.
Trumpington.
Right.
I'm going to go with Washington.
Washington, the big hit musical Washington would be great, but this one's Hamilton.
Oh, I never even heard of it.
That one too.
Oh, yeah, see, Wendy's on fire here. I'll give her another point because she knew it. No. And by request, here's a little bit of the music. Not throwing away my shot. No, not throwing away my shot. No, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. And you're welcome. So here we go. Wendy, your question here. What is the Magna Carta? This would have been Betty's question. What is the Magna Carta? Is it the foundation of the British parliamentary system? Is it the charter signed by the Pilgrims on the Mayflower, or the largest diamond found in the New World? What do you think?
I'm going to go with the first one.
The foundation of the British parliamentary system. That is absolutely right.
Oh.
Nicely done. And it's where we got the idea for some of the things that we put into our own Constitution. So congratulations there. That is 2-1. We do say that Betty Rock tie goes to Betty Rock, but there's no way she could actually tie this one.
The last one just be double points?
The last one be double points?
Yeah.
Okay. The Scopes trial was about what? Freedom of the press, teaching evolution in schools, or prayer in schools? Removing prayer from schools.
Scope?
The Scopes trial.
Evolution. Because you need a scope to see the cells. No, it's not a periscope. A
Microscope.
stethoscope.
No, stethoscope is like listening to the heart. You know what? I cannot give you this question, even though you got it right. I can't give it to you just on principle alone of not knowing microscope. So, Wendy, you were in 2-1 going into that, so you're the big winner today. Nicely done.
Oh, yay!
We have a lovely prize for you, and Betty Rock, just a little hint.
I haven't taken the class yet.
I know, exactly.
I haven't taken it
Exactly.
yet.
That's why we did this.
If they talk to me about stethoscopes, I'm going to be ready.
Nope. Still nope.
Yep, still nope. Okay, microscope. But anyway, so good luck with that class at CCU there, Betty Rock. All right, that is going to do it. Podcast is over. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being a potty.